the northeast side of the state are familiar with, to talk through what this process will actually look like from start to finish. And Randy, you can just skip over this and go to the next slide.
Okay, thank you, everyone. And as Dr. Cash said, we're just going to briefly touch on this and give you some updates. So we are super excited. We were surprised by this, of course, the expanded direct enrollment, but just what that means for you and your districts is that basically the students that are under 18, we no longer have to have a DOI for them before they can enroll. So they can either directly enroll with us or do a direct transfer. So we are super excited that we no longer have to have a declaration of intent completed for those kids. And then the second overall aspect that impacts you guys is the dropout recovery partnership, which we have worked with several of your districts before. And you guys already provide this information with either your dropout students, your rosters, or your no-show rosters. And then we work those internally to try to recover some of those dropouts to hopefully get them to transfer to us and enroll. So basically, the only thing that's going to change with that is that we're just asking you or your districts, your point of contacts, to email those to us at dropouts@miamic.org. And this will allow us to quickly identify and reach out to these students to see if they're interested in returning to school or enrolling with Mountain Ed and earning a high school diploma. We will have a team at central office at Mountain Ed that will work these and manage and coordinate these dropout recovery aspects. Are there any questions about the expanded enrollment or dropout recovery?
So, Miranda, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, real quick, I was just going to say, Miranda, so for those kids that are 10 days, we would obviously, like you mentioned, not just offer mountain education, but obviously encourage them to go back to their school.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify.
Yes, we just want to work those lists to see what their intentions are, if they're going to enroll back with her, if they plan on returning to their current district, or if they, are interested in an alternative option with Mountain Ed.
Miranda, hi, it's Deborah Murdoch from Cherokee. We're like David, we're going to continue to adhere to House Senate Bill 123 about the meetings and all that. Is there a cadence that you want the information? Like, do you want it quarterly? Do you want it every week? How's that best suited for Mountain Ed?
Some of the larger districts are probably going to do it on a weekly or monthly, and then on weekly basis. And then some of the smaller districts are probably going to do it on a monthly basis. But honestly, Dr. Murdoch, whatever works best for your district, in whatever format, you can just simply export it from your SIS system and just email it to us.
Okay.
Yes,
Miranda, we had a question about from Ms. Terry about the information. You want to explain? It's just directory information.
Yes, it is basic. The reason that we're doing the dropouts at miamic.org, we realize that it's the Gmail account, but since these rosters just contain specific directory information, we are not going to utilize the Godot secure portal because it does not contain any socials or GTIDs.
The statute says that we have to provide it within 10 days of either the event of 10 consecutive absences or withdrawal. So do we get to do it at the end of the month if it happens at the beginning of the month?
Honestly, that's a local district decision. So that's kind of up to you guys. I mean, we're just, as we receive them, we're going to take them and then begin working those lists.
And Mr. Tuck, to your point, I know that becomes kind of a logistic headache of having to keep up with that 10-day calendar. And so there may be an internal process at the high school, at your high school, your two high school levels, to have an indicator once that student's hit that 10th day. We'll, as Miranda said, we'll take those rosters at any point. The guidance that we have heard when asking that same question to our legal counsel has been, as long as they're being uploaded on a monthly basis, that would probably be the upper limit. But as far as any less than that, certainly whatever that cadence needs to be to make sense for Murray or for anybody else, we'll certainly receive. We'll be checking that email daily.
Okay, thank you.
And of course, as we start this process, if there's anything that we can tweak or adjust internally at Mountain Ed to better support, make it an easier process for you and your district, please definitely reach out and let us know.
There's also one other component on there, and I want to introduce Dr. David Hicks. To many of you, especially on the west side, northwest side of the state, are very familiar with Dr. Hicks as our Chief Communications Officer. And so one component of this legislation is really about staying current on the traditional day school end as far as just getting information out. And so we want to make sure that we're supporting you on making on that currency of information as well. So Dr. Hicks, I'll turn it to you.
Yeah, this will be real easy for you guys. Basically what we anticipate doing is by December 1st and June 1st is the requirement that we provide program updates to you guys, which won't be very different from time to time. Of course, the law doesn't go into effect till July 1, so December 1st would be normally by then. However, with school starting in the fall, we'll go ahead and we envision it being a one-page flyer. There's just something really simple for you guys to print off. The law says post it. I know y'all seen this if you've been in education long enough. Post it in a prominent location. So whatever you consider prominent location, just, it says that, and then you would send it electronically to your parents and students. So again, the nuances of how you do that would be totally up to you, but that's, what the law says, and we'll just send that to you. And then you just distribute it, according to the process that you select. So that should be very easy.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sure. Yes, sir.
On the consecutive absences, if we've submitted a name, they've missed 10 consecutive days, and we submit a monthly report and they've missed 10 consecutive days during that month, but then they come back to us, and then they're at another 10 consecutive days, do we need to resubmit those names every time that they hit that threshold, or is the one submission sufficient?
If they come back after that removal due to a lack of attendance from the school, the home school, and then hit that 10-day mark again, you would want to reach back out to us because they would then be in the status of a dropout again.
Okay.
And again, we'll reach out and then talk to them about, if you're struggling with going to school, would this be a good option? But of course, we want to coordinate that with y'all and always be in communication. And at the end, we'll give you, who would be the contacts for that. But Ms. Terry also asked about within the attendance zone of the completion school. And so, Dr. Cash, you correct me if I say this wrong, but obviously our assigned attendance zone for Mountain Education is Pioneer RESA, North Georgia RESA, and Northwest Georgia RESA. But Ms. Terry, with Carroll County Schools, y'all are in West Georgia RESA. Without getting into a lot of detail, we do work within that West Georgia RESA. Technically, we were not the assigned completion school, but there was a choice made by the RESA to not work with that completion school at the time. So that's why we're working in West Georgia RESA. So yes, we're interpreting the law to mean that, because there is a completion school, that, you would want to work with us, which y'all already do anyway. So does that answer your question?
Yes, I've had that question from some other districts throughout the state as well, as like where to find those attendance zones and completion schools and so forth.
Okay, well, I'll put it on my calendar.
We can get that to you. We can actually add that slide on this deck. The same information that Dr. Hicks just mentioned is very similar for Metro RESA, Georgia, that there's currently not a completion special school option available for school districts in that RESA. And so by default, similar to what's happening in West Georgia RESA, is if the completion special school is not already established, those students can choose to go to the closest one available. And so, where the lines are very clear would be those school districts that are on the boundary, Jackson County, Clark County, Elbert County. That's clearly foothills. And so if we had a high school that reached out to, or a student that reached out to us from one of those counties, we would put them in touch with foothills, and then they do the same for us. But for everybody else that's on this call, if you're in one of those other RESAs that Dr. Hicks has mentioned, you're at the right place.
Okay. Thank you.
Dr.
As
Murdoch.
far as if there's any kind of lack of clarity on that or not sure, of course, always reach out. But we know our registrar and through that process, they make sure that we're putting the students in touch with the district, the completion special school that they need to be going to.
Dr. Murdoch, do you have a question?
I did, Dr. Hicks, and it's for you. So here it
Okay.
comes.
Okay.
So when I was reviewing the legislation, I think in my mind, I had envisioned us sending out information about Mountain Ed, like when we come back to school. So am I envisioning this correctly, that we won't have anything like that from Mountain Ed until December?
No, I'll go ahead. It just doesn't make sense to wait with
It
the
really
new
doesn't for
school
us
year
either.
starting. That we'll get into that. I'm gonna steal the word from earlier, cadence. And I stole nuances from Dr. Cash. That's his favorite word, by the way. But
Good word.
he's got a lot of big words that I don't understand. But anyway, I will go ahead and send that out prior to the school year starting, so that and then obviously it'd be up to you guys how much you share that, but at least you'll have it. We also have some brochures that we can send out. If you just wanted to have them in the office, that's fine.
Yeah, we would love that. I think we've been very adherent to the Senate Bill 123, so we're not withdrawing kids for lack of attendance. That's how we interpret it. If they're 17 and 18, we make lots of adjustments, and we make sure they're not in the attendance zone anymore before we would withdraw them. So the kids that we will be sending are transfers, which we're thrilled that whatever legislative gods align back, that we don't have to do the program piece anymore. That was really a lot of work for you guys and for us too.
Yes.
So we're excited about that. I think whatever we could have in communication with our parents to say, if this is not working, here's a great option for you guys, would be great.
Yeah, and I think, Dr. Cash, you mentioned this. I can't remember if it was when we were talking before, but just a reminder for maybe our newer systems that are, in this call, we assume all the graduation accountability. Obviously, when they come to us, they're coming to us as a Mountain Education student. There is the program option, but primarily almost all systems, they become our student. And of course, we obviously assume the FTE as well.
And to Dr. Murdoch's question too, I know she and I spoke briefly about this a couple of weeks ago, but the question that comes up often is, well, why would you still want to have the program option? Nothing has changed about that. You may have a situation with a student that you're not able to serve that student on campus, or you don't have an alternative or a virtual option for a student, but they're not supposed to, or they're disallowed from receiving any type of educational services at your high school, and there needs to be just a program option where the kid's still enrolled with you, you still own the GTID, but the actual academic part of the process needs to be delivered elsewhere for whatever reasons. So that would be the rare chance that you might still want a program component. For those school districts that are familiar with Mountain Ed, we still have tuition as an option too. And so that hasn't changed. This legislation doesn't affect that in any way. So if you have a student that's looking for initial credit and they want to come to Mountain Ed and still be enrolled at your local high school, and you're not looking for them to be a program student, but that helps to free up their schedule in some way, that process has not changed. We still would ask the local high school to fill out the permission form process to ensure that you're okay with this student coming to us and paying for that course out of their pocket. But we don't want a student to spend time working on a course and then we transfer that credit to you and then you say, we're not going to recognize this. So again, that process doesn't change. It's not affected by this legislation.
Dr. Cash, can I ask one more question? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to monopolize, but
Certainly.
I know in the past you guys have served some kids who may be disallowed from coming to one of our campuses through an expulsion process through your Quest program.
Yes.
Is that still an option? Because we still have an alternative school, but some of them really prefer what you've had there.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, we still have Quest as one of our campus options, and nothing has changed with that as well.
Can we just, and I know everyone knows this, real quick, I'll just throw in, the only thing we ask is that discipline has been resolved. Not that they've met the time frame, but just there's nothing pending. In other words, like, they get mad. I'm sure y'all never get parents mad about a discipline situation. That never happens. And they just go. And then they contact us. We would contact you back and say, hey, what is the where's there a waiver, or where's the discipline tribunal?
Yeah, we disallowed that. So we make them,
Yeah.
make them do it.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's great.
I think everybody understands that, but we just
Yeah.
want to make sure.
And Dr. Murdoch, just one thing on your current program students, do you want me to send you a list of those students and just kind of, we can go through them one case by case?
That would be awesome, Miranda, if you wouldn't mind doing that. That'd be fantastic.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right. I guess the next, if we're ready to move to the next slide, maybe. Again, we'll send this out, and do y'all want to, Dr. Cash, Miranda, we good to open up questions?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any questions from the group?
And I've been monitoring the chat box, and I think we've covered so far everything that's in there.
And as you're processing and thinking, if anybody out there would like to have more in-depth conversation where we're talking about specifics, we're happy to do that too. If you need to gather a smaller team, just let us know. We've got the contact information right here. We'll hop on a call. We'll come to you, whatever you want to do, and talk through whatever the logistics need to be. And if nothing else from the last 2 years, I hope that the silver lining has been that our partnerships have tightened. I think that we better understand your needs. I hope that you all are seeing ways that Mountain Ed can continue to support you. And we certainly cannot be a one-trick pony. So whatever your specific district needs, we want to make sure that we can meet that.
Dr. Cash, where can we access the recording and the slides?
Miranda, are you going to email that out?
Yes, we're going to email that out. And also the slides are currently linked. They're attached to the calendar invite as well, but we'll directly email that out, the slides and the recording once it renders and it's available.
Thank you.
Other questions from anyone?
I just want to say you guys have done a great job. We really appreciate the partnership. Through troubled waters, you guys did a great job. So thank you.
And your
Thank
team as well, Dr. Murdoch.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Well, hearing no questions, we'll close out and reach out at any time. Like I said, thank you for your time, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Have a great summer.